Hello and a great big welcome to this week's I Did It in My Pajamas show. Today we're going to be having a look at money in the chapter I Did It with Zero Capital and I Did It in My Pajamas. Have you got your copy yet? If you have, put your hand up. Okay, I can't really see you, but it was great that you tried. So grab a cup of tea, and the way it works is it's very chilled. I'm in my pajamas. I hope you are in your pajamas too. I've grabbed a cup of tea, and last week I let it get cold. Hopefully this week I'll remember to drink it. And really, we're just very chilled and we're just laid back, and we're going to chat through some of I Did It in My Pajamas each week. I'll read you a snippet from the book, and then I will open up to some questions. So if you have any questions throughout the show, just send your questions in, and I will get to them either throughout the show or at the end, but we will get to as many questions as possible. And if you don't yet have your copy of I Did It in My Pajamas, there is a buy link right here, or is it up here? I can't see where the text is, probably up here, but there's a buy link in the description. So just grab a copy of your book, and then you can follow along. You can, leave a review, you can write comments, you can, whatever the case may be, but just get involved. All I Did It in My Pajamas is really a really fun title, which I loved, but it is just the story of my first 3 years in building the Women's Business Club. And last week we looked at how the Women's Business Club came about, how I Did It in My Pajamas came about, and this week we're going to look a little deeper into the area of money. How did I start this company with absolutely no money? And when I say absolutely no money, I don't mean that I had a rich auntie or uncle who lent me £25,000 startup capital. I don't mean that I took a bank loan. I don't mean that I had savings or anything. When I say I started with zero, I mean I literally had a zero. No, let's just be honest here. I had a minus bank balance. Okay, I had some debts from some previous things that I still had to pay off. So I really started from the position of minus zero capital. And there are ways, if you want to build a business, there are ways to do it without having money. If you have money, bravo. If you have money, that's fantastic that you can do a lot with money. I'm not saying that you have to start from zero. If you're in a fortunate position to have some startup capital, even better. But don't sit there and think that if you don't have any money, or if you have a minus bank balance, that there's no hope for you. You can't do anything. Last week I went to a networking event that was specifically for property investors, and at that networking event I heard about a man who had minus, I think he said £125,000 bank balance, so significantly more minus than I had. He had less than nothing, and with some clever skill, a little bit of creativity, he was able to buy a property, not with his money, because remember he didn't have any, turn it around and take a £400,000 property and sell it for £1 million. So you know what? If he can do it and I can do it, you can do it. We can all do it. So the very first obstacle that I want to completely obliterate this evening is the fact that it takes money to make money. Yes, if you have money, you can make more money. A lot of people, however, have money, they don't know what to do with it, and they end up worse off than before. How many lottery winners do we get? We very often get lottery winners, but how many of them do you see flourishing and doing well? I'm sure there are stories, but I certainly don't know of any. There are lots of cases where people have instant lump sum inheritance or whatever the case may be. Pardon me, but very few people know what to do with money. And so even having a massive cash injection might not be what you need right now. You may be thinking, if only I had £3,000 or £10,000 or £100, if only I had a little bit of a cash injection, then I could get my business to where I want it to be. But that's not true. That's just an excuse that you're using. You may not realize it's an excuse that you're using. I was there too. I was always thinking if I just had £3,000, I could invest it in my marketing budget and the company would flourish. But really, for me, the best thing was to realize that when I hit a wall in my business, I asked myself the question, is money going to solve this? If I had money, what would I do? And then I would assess the situation, and 9 times out of 10, I realized, wait a minute, there's a creative solution here. And so I'd hit a wall, and then I would readjust my course and keep going until I hit another wall, readjust my course and keep going. And money hasn't been the answer, it hasn't been the solution. And times when I have got in business, I have had a bit of a cash boost for various reasons. I've tried things with the money, and sometimes I've lost the money. And sometimes the money has grown and made more money. So money is a very, very important subject. If you're in business, or if you're not in business, if you're employed, even my children are being taught these principles. Because money, you either love it or you hate it. But no matter which side of the fence you sit on, you're going to have to get comfortable with it, because we all need money. We all need to be able to pay our bills, we need to be able to live our life, and it takes money to do so. And so what I would like to recommend tonight, and what I really hope you leave with, is inspiration to develop a healthy relationship with money. You don't need to love money or hate money. It's money. You don't love or hate it. It's neither. It is something that we need to have choice. It's something that we need to do life. And so tonight we're going to have a little glimpse at how I did it with zero capital, and hopefully you'll get some ideas too of how you could do it with zero capital. Another sip of tea. So let me start by reading a little snippet from the book. I did it in my pajamas, and then we'll have a little chat with some of our watchers, our viewers who have already sent some questions in. And then if your questions do pop up on the screen, then I'll try answer those too. I'm no expert, okay? I'm not saying I have all the answers. That's not what I did it in my pajamas is about at all. What I'm saying is this is how I did it. And how I did it may not even work for you. How I did it in my pajamas is not necessarily a recipe. There are no get-rich-quick schemes. There are no recipes in business. You really have to find your own way. What I do hope is a little bit of my story might give you some inspiration for your story, might help you come up with some creative ideas in your business. So let me read a little snippet to you from the very first chapter of I Did It in My Pajamas. I did it with zero capital. And this week, I'm actually going to put my glasses on so I can see. Because last week I struggled. And as you know, I start with a quote. I love quotes. And this is a quote by Aristotle, who says, "The life of money-making is one undertaking under compulsion, since wealth is not the good we are seeking and is merely useful for the sake of something else." Something to think about. So, I did it with zero capital. It doesn't take money to make money. So what if you have money or don't have money? So what? That has little to do with it. What matters is what you want, and even more importantly, why you want it. From there, the money will come, if and when you need it. How to start with nothing. Before we get started with how to start with nothing, let me ask you a very important question. If you were given a lump sum of money, what would you do with it? Let's pause there for a moment. If you were given a lump sum of money right now, what would you do with it? Think about that. Maybe write down what you would do with it. On many occasions, I have had an opportunity to enter a competition or win an award that comes with a cash payout. Each time I've asked myself what I would do with the money if I won. And each time I discovered that I didn't actually need the money. Note, there's a difference between wanting and needing. At times, I needed to fine-tune my strategy. At other times, I needed to appoint people to carry some of the load. And at other times, I simply needed a break to get a fresh perspective. If on any of those occasions I had been presented with more money, I may have wasted it. And I wasn't ready for it, as I wasn't ready for it. From the time I started my business up to now, I've always had the right amount of money at any given time. If I were given money right this minute or earned an unexpected fee, I would simply pop it into a savings account or invest it so it would be available when I needed it. More money isn't going to grow my business this year. I wrote this book a few years ago. it might just help this year. My plan is to consistently keep on doing what I did last year with a few exciting new projects thrown into the mix to keep it fun. None of what I have planned requires more money, but when I'm ready to launch my fantastic new product range and need money for capital, I will simply dip into what I have purposefully saved up for this next stage. So my question to you again is, what do you need money for right now? Will it solve a real problem, or will it hinder the creative process that will force you to innovate? Food for thought, isn't it? Innovation often comes from difficult times when a problem presents itself and you don't have the money to solve it. Too often, money is actually your worst enemy, as you don't have to innovate to get out of a hole. You simply throw money at the problem to make it go away. It's all well and good telling me the fluffy stuff, I hear you say, but how do I practically make money starting with absolutely nothing at all? Well, I'm so pleased you asked. For me, it's very simple. My guiding light is always to keep my expenses less than my income. So, to start a business with nothing means that you have to start with income and not an expense. Again, I'd like to pause there. Think about it. To start with nothing, what do you have to start with? If you're going to keep your expenses less than your income, then obviously you have to start with the income. Even though I don't know your financial situation, I'm quite certain that you already have enough money right now to start a business, even if it means absolutely nothing. You already have exactly what you need. The question is, can you see it? And are you creative enough to do something with it? If in doubt, skip ahead to the chapter called I Did It in the Bath, and then come back to this point. You see, if you are truly an entrepreneur, then nothing will stop you from building a business. No excuses will hold you back. No fears will be strong enough to keep you where you are. You are who you are, and what is inside of you will naturally come out if you allow it to. An artist will create art. A writer will write. A musician will make music. Even without training, although their art, writing and music will be naturally better if they invest in their gift. A leader will lead. A manager will manage. An engineer will pull things apart just to see how they are made. And an entrepreneur will set up a business. That's it. Who you are and the gift inside of you will emerge naturally if you allow it to. And it will thrive if you train and nurture it. The problem is that most people are trying so hard to be who they think they should be that they don't see who they really are. And I'm just going to pause there briefly to tell you about an exciting new product that we have available at the Women's Business Club. Every month at the Women's Business Club we have a theme. And for the whole month, we really focus on that theme. And January's theme has been vision. So January's been Vision Month, and we've provided a vision map for those of you who want it, which is available in the shop on the Women's Business Club website. But to interject on this particular point, finding your passion, February's theme is Love Your Business. And it's all about finding your passion for your business, or if you've lost it, to rekindle that passion. And our product for February, and get this, it's only £2.49. Not 24, £2.49. It's a download, and it's called a Passion Finder. And this is a document, a PDF download, worksheet style, that's going to help you to find your passion. And if you found it, just to double check that you haven't missed anything, and it's awesome. So there will be emails and newsletters and stuff going around with it, but you can download it directly from the Women's Business Club website. In the shop, look for Passion Finder. So I highly recommend it. It could really help you if you're unsure if you're doing what you're truly passionate about. Okay, so let's get back. The problem is that most people are trying so hard to be who they think they should be that they don't see who they really are. Who are you? What is inside of you? What comes naturally? What do you love to do? What are you most passionate about? These are the most important questions, not the question of how much capital you have to start with. Let's take a look at how Richard Branson started his Virgin Empire. Take payment first. That's his big tip. or that's at least what I learned from him. In 1969, Richard was living in a London commune, which was infested with the British music and drug scene. It was there that he had the idea to begin a mail order company to help fund his magazine. Richard then went on to start the company that we now know as Virgin Records. He achieved this with a little startup money because he first took the payment for the records and then went out to buy them. This solved his cash flow problem and enabled him to build it into the brand that he sold for around £560 million. He sold Virgin Records to help fund his next venture, Virgin Airlines. Many great entrepreneurs did not have large amount of capital available to them at first, and yet they persevered anyway. We can learn from these people. What did they have that led them to ultimate success, if not money? So what does it take to make money? If all it took was money to make money, then why don't lottery winners have all a significant amount of wealth piled up? Money can make more money, but only in the hands of the right person. However, the right person can make money with or without having money in the first place. So clearly, the key lies in being the right person as opposed to having an initial investment. I have had money and lost money over and over again, but it took years to become the person that can handle money and make it grow. Being the right person is a lifelong journey once you find the path. Too many business owners are so busy trying to make money that they haven't even considered whether they are on the wrong path in the first place. It's easy to say that it doesn't take money to make money, and it also leaves the burning question, then what does it take to make money? And I'm going to stop here today because next week I'm going to continue reading, giving you some keys of what it does take to make money. But I'm not going to leave you frustrated, okay? We're going to talk about this a little bit in our Q&A. But first, I want to draw your attention to this week's Women's Business Club member, whose business card is my bookmark. And I did promise that I would feature one of your businesses each week. And this week, ta-da! I've decided to feature Charlotte Poole Graham of St. James Place Wealth Management. Can you see the card? Is it showing up? Okay. So Charlotte is a financial advisor at St. James Place, and absolutely lovely, lovely lady. She is not scary at all. Usually when you think you're going to see a financial advisor, you think, oh, some scary person that's going to speak about numbers and things that I don't understand. But Charlotte is genuinely lovely and very, very personable, easy to be around, and she knows her stuff. Charlotte has been a member of the Women's Business Club for a few years now and has been an absolute amazing asset to the club. I can recommend it to anyone. And so the sorts of things Charlotte will help you with, and the things that she's helped me with, is first of all getting to grips with your planning for your short-term, medium-term, long-term. You know, what do you want money for, and at what stages in your life are you going to need a cash injection? And she helps with your pension, tax extraction. In fact, I can't do her justice by trying to tell you what she does, but I do recommend that you get in touch with Charlotte. So I'll hold this up to the screen in case you want to grab her details. Otherwise, pop over to the Women's Business Club member directory and you'll find her contact details there. And also, after the show, I'll pop her details up on the description part of this video. So thank you, Charlotte, for all the fantastic financial advice you've given me and many others. Now we're going to move on to some of your questions. So first of all, Rosalind Patton, who is my mummy, she asked the question, who has been your greatest inspiration in business? Now, I've had a week to plan an answer for this question because she asked it at the end of last week's show. But to be honest, I can't say that there's been one person. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer her question in the area of finance. Who has been my greatest influence in finance? And she may or may not be surprised to discover, but she's been my greatest influence in finance. Growing up, I watched my mom handle money. I watched her save, budget. I watched her do clever things with money. I watched her pay off our annual holidays piece by piece in advance so that by the time we went on holiday, it was fully paid for. She taught me how to read the financial columns in the newspaper. And so in the area of finance, my greatest influence has been my mom. Thank you, Mom, for just doing it. She modeled it. I don't know if she sat me down and taught me. I don't recall. It doesn't matter. The point is that she modeled it, and she handled our family budget very wisely, and I learned a lot just from watching her manage money. So thanks so much for that. You've been a real inspiration to me in the area of finance and in business. And then the second one was Shireen Bloom from London. She asked, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how to be resourceful when starting a business with little or no money. Gosh, so first of all, that's a loaded question, and I think it's a discussion that we could maybe have if we pop over to the Facebook group. I'll put this question in there and we can discuss it together. But really, I think what I said tonight, I just could reiterate that as well, is to keep your income greater than your expenses. And so in my case, when I started the Women's Business Club, like I said, I had no money, and I did the Richard Branson thing. I did it before I realized that Richard Branson did it, but I did it because I didn't have any money. I had no choice. And so what I did was I set up our very first Women's Business Club lunch. I booked the venue, and then I took payments before I had to pay the venue. So everybody paid up front to book their place, and then I paid the venue after running the event. It also meant that there was no risk, because if I had to take cash on the day or payments after the event, people may not turn up, and I've already committed. And so from that front, that's really how I started, was by taking money first, so that I had the security of knowing that those places are booked, and I only paid the venue for what I had to pay for. I didn't have to guess the numbers. So that's one way of doing it. If you're in a position where you don't have much money or any money, look at your business model and see if there's a way for you to take money up front, so that you are guaranteed the income before you have to maybe buy products or book a venue or things like that. I think there's a lot more that we could say about it. It all depends on the business type, but if you keep the principles in place, then you can dabble with the specifics of what you do in your business, but the principle should be make sure that you keep your income greater than your expenses at all times. And so if in doubt, if you're in a position where you have to make a decision, do I pay for advertising? Well, does your budget allow for it, or is that going to put your expenses over your income? Do I pay for this marketing cost? Things like that. Always consider, where is that going to put you? Now, sometimes you do have to take a risk, but it has to be a very carefully calculated risk. If I pay for this advert, it's going to cost me £700, and if I lose that £700, is it going to put me out of business, or is it just going to be uncomfortable? You have to calculate the risk. You never want to put yourself in a position where the risk is so great that it's going to put you out of business. I think another thing that you can do to be resourceful when you have no money is there's an awful lot of things you can do for free these days that maybe 20 years ago didn't exist. So social media is a massive, massive way that you can grow your business. It takes a lot longer if you're not using paid advertising, but it's a great way that you can really do a lot of marketing for free. And so there's a lot more that we can chat about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this question into the Women's Business Club Facebook group. It's not the page that you're watching on now. I'll pop it into the group, and then we can continue the discussion. And then if you have any questions, we're going to continue on the subject of money next Sunday. Send your questions in. Just leave a comment at the bottom of this video, and then we will chat about them. So until next week, have a fantastic week. Enjoy your cup of tea if it hasn't already gone cold. And I will be speaking to you soon. Bye-bye.